Welcome. This is the Shenandoah Valley cooking class. I'm Jay Langston because I don't know who is actually tuned in, and if you know me. And as all things with a live program, we're changing up the schedule just a little bit here. So I would like to introduce our chef, Chef William Apioki.
Thank you.
Pleasure to see you.
Yes, thank you.
If you are interested in cooking with us, get your ingredients ready because we're going to go ahead and start working on the grits portion and then the shrimp. And so it's exciting it's exciting for me because I'm not having to do the cooking this time. So, Chef William, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, no worries. In the pan that I have when we're working with grits, it's a 4-to-1 ratio of liquid and to grits. So if you have a cup of grits, you're going to use 4 cups of milk or water. To give it some good flavor, you can even use chicken stock, or for this, since we're doing shrimp and grits, you can do shrimp stock as well. That would be really make some tasty grits. In here I've got milk, butter, and I've already added some spices to it: nutmeg, black pepper, a little salt, and cayenne. Cayennes can get spicy for people, so if you want to swap it out for some paprika, smoked paprika, that's a good option too. And we're just going to heat it up until we get the milk to a simmer. Stir in our grits, and then, well, I guess while we're waiting, we'll get the shrimp portion started as well.
I'm going to let you go ahead and do that. There's a story for the reason why we're doing the shrimp and grits as well. I should add that we are at Augusta Health. We're at the farmhouse for Augusta Health. You're going to hear from the CEO from Augusta Health in just a minute or two, who they are hosting us here. And this is a special privilege for us. And so this is part of, the nutrition, the advocacy, working with the community, and the healthcare.
We can go ahead and we'll get these grits in, as you can see right there. Now, the thing with milk, anytime you're cooking with milk, you want to be careful not to go too hard on the boil because it has protein in it, it will overflow, and we do not want to make a big mess with our with our milk. It's not fun to clean up.
And that's easy to do because I prepared this recipe Saturday morning and it almost made a mess all over the range top for there.
But you just want to keep the grits moving.
You want me to do that?
You can.
Well, you can do
Yeah.
something else. This makes me feel like I'm actually participating in the process.
So to a cold pan, I added some bacon already. And the reason I added to a cold pan is because I want that bacon fat to come out into the dish. And so I want to start it and let that fat render out so that we can use that fat to cook the rest of our ingredients in.
Okay. Do you mind if I introduce Mary now and have her join us, and you can continue with that and you can just interact with all of this?
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce Mary Mannix, the CEO of Augusta Health. Mary, thank you for joining us. You can only imagine her schedule is crazy. So thank you for allowing us to cook here. Me pretend that I'm cooking. Thanks heaven for the chef. And you want to tell us about Augusta Health and AMI Farmhouse?
Yes, I would love to. And it's my pleasure, Jay. And I'm so happy to have our colleagues from the Shenandoah Valley Partnership here with us today. And Chef William is going to be much more competent in the cooking department than Mary is. But what I would just love to tell you about is this partnership that we've had with AMI, the Allegheny Mountain Institute. And the genesis of this partnership was really based out of a community health needs assessment. And the community health needs assessment identified that weight management, nutrition, and chronic disease management all kind of intersect together. And in our community, we knew that we had a problem with weight management, access to nutritious food, in some cases food insecurity, and chronic diseases such as diabetes. So all of this kind of merged into this strategy that we were going to partner with the Allegheny Mountain Institute and start a farm and incorporate that into the services that we provide to the community. And so the first project that we undertook was the food pharmacy. Pharmacy is spelled F-A-R-M-A-C-Y.
I love that. Yeah.
And that's basically where our physicians have identified patients that they feel could really benefit from education, from cooking demos such as what you're doing today, and also how to pick nutritious foods. And all of that is just such a huge underpinning of our health. And when you look at it in the aggregate, the health of the community, we have, if I'm not mistaken, we have provided over 21,000 pounds of food for this program alone. On an annual basis, we provide about 30,000 pounds of food based out of our farm, which we're really proud of, and we're really proud of the accomplishments. It's unique, it's different. We don't know of any other health system in Virginia that has something like this. And so, again, we're delighted that you're here to do a cooking lesson with your audience today.
Well, it's fun, and I have to give kudos to Mary. They are very engaged in economic development and the business community and the health of the valley. And now we know that the healthcare, when we're talking about workforce, when we're talking about all of the things that drive business, that is just a tremendous part of what we have as an asset and what we have to sell.
Well, thank you, Jay. We love our community, and we know that it takes all of the community partners coming together to impact the quality of life, whether that be from an economic perspective, from a health perspective. And so we're just delighted to see this all come together here in our kitchen here today.
What amazes me is what you were saying earlier about how much food that you produce, what it does for the community, and also for the hospital.
Yes.
As well.
Yes, this food actually goes into our inpatient tower, and we serve it to our patients who are inpatients. We also work in collaborative with many different food pantries and our own clinics. And if I'm not mistaken, we have about 21 different food pantries throughout our own healthcare system where we have identified patients who have food insecurity, and through various programs, we've identified those patients and have a really nice kind of channel of distribution, if you will, right into their homes.
You have any words you want to say about the bacon while you're doing that?
I'm just cooking it until it gets nice and crispy. It smells wonderful.
It does smell wonderful.
Yeah, I'm just cooking this down to get all this fat out. If you are using bacon, it's great because you can render out that fat. You don't have to do any added fat. You don't have to do any extra butter. And really, because it's coming from the bacon, you really don't have to do any extra seasoning to it because the fat in the bacon is so flavorful. So you really can get away with using it as one of your main flavor sources for this dish. Now to the bacon fat, I'm going to add our shrimp. And when you're cooking anything with seafood, moisture is your enemy in a pan.
Oh, really?
Yes, it will stop it from getting good color. It will it will make it stick to the pan. So you really want to make it as dry as possible. If you have to, you can put it on a paper towel, pat it dry.
Well, that explains some things. My household, anyway.
So yeah, you really want to, anytime you're doing fish, if you're doing a piece of fish or anything, pat it dry with a paper towel, and you'll prevent it from sticking to your pan, and it will get better color on it.
Okay. So while you're doing that, Mary, you want to give a little bit of history about Augusta Health and some of the assets that you have here?
Yeah, so Augusta Health, some people don't realize, but Augusta Health is basically the product of two legacy hospitals, one located in Stanton and one located in Waynesboro, that had conversations for a long time, came together in 1988 and decided that it would be best for the community to join forces and serve the community in an integrated fashion. So in 1994, this main hospital was constructed and opened up, and the two hospitals came together. That would be King's Daughters in Stanton and Waynesboro Community in Waynesboro, and that was the genesis of Augusta Health. fast forward today, here we are almost 30 years later, and we have a very large campus here, 230 acres, but we also have close to 40 different practice sites throughout our region of the Shenandoah Valley. We have urgent cares, we have primary care, we have subspecialty care. We have close to 275 providers now reaching out into the community to serve our community. We also have an endowment, what's called the Community Partnership Endowment, where we actually partner with other not-for-profits that are very interested in improving the health of the community and are aligned with us in that partnership. And so our board of directors took 5% of our investments, our savings, and said we're going to dedicate that 5% to the endowment to work with other healthcare systems or other not-for-profits to improve the health of this community. And we're really proud of that. And we think that that's what being a national model of community healthcare is all about. And it's also very much linked to our mission. And our mission is to strengthen the health and well-being of all people in the communities that we serve.
Yeah. Did all you do was sear
That's all
the
I
shrimp?
did. Yes, shrimp cooks very, very quickly. So you do not have to do anything special to it. It's just really, really fast to get that done, both sides. And that's all I did to it. And so in that same pan with all those yummy ingredients and still the flavors from the bacon and the shrimp, I'm gonna add some onion now to the pan. One of my favorite smells is bacon and onions cooking. Mm.
Yeah, no complaints here.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
We're gonna add some bell pepper and some mushrooms. Now we're gonna wanna cook this until the mushrooms are soft, the peppers are soft. This can all cook together. We're gonna cook basically pull the water out of the mushrooms and just kind of get them very nice and tender. And don't touch it.
Just leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. A
Okay.
lot of people when they're doing a lot of cooking things, they feel the need to like stir and stir and stir.
That's me.
And things like that. And the best thing you could do is just not touch it because it will. That's how you get everything to cook evenly. If you move it
Okay.
around too much, it just won't. We won't get a lot of cooking action. It'll just be steaming in a pan, so to speak. But we want that nice. So we're gonna just let it pretend it doesn't exist for a minute.
Okay. Mary, I know you've got a lot of things. If you want to stick with us for the whole show, you are welcome to. You've got more that you want to convey to our audience. Please feel free to do that. We want to introduce Catherine as well.
Well,
or do you have more you want to talk about?
No,
Please.
I am going to actually turn it over to Catherine, and I am just going to thank you all for being a part of this today. We love our community and we love our partnerships, and just to see all of this come together is just really exciting for Augusta Health and is just so consistent with our mission of community service. So thank you for being here. Chef William, you rock. And I'll let Catherine step in. Thank you.
Thank
okay.
you, Mary.
All right.
Mary is being very humble. They are very community oriented here in the community. There is a social for all of the local economic development folks coming up in a couple of weeks. I think if I am not wrong, you're the 5th largest of the hospitals in the independent hospitals in Virginia, and a huge asset for us. So very engaged in the community. Appreciate it. I'd like to introduce Catherine Hill at this point, who is nutritional educator. Is that right? Did I even get it close?
I'm a health educator.
Health
You were
educator,
close.
okay.
I do a lot of work with nutrition, so yes, it smells amazing, by the way.
It does smell amazing because now I'm learning some things that I would be stirring this continuously.
Yeah, I
And
would
I like
too.
baking,
Yeah.
and so you stir a lot, you know. You want to add to sort of the health characteristics. I'm going to let you just take it away rather than try to explain what you're going to talk about.
Okay. Well, Mary,
And you come on around the corner
okay,
there so you can be seen.
Okay. Mary did a wonderful job of giving some history of the AMI farm at Augusta Health and about our community health needs assessment process. And she did a great job of describing our food pharmacy program. Some additional programming that we have here through community outreach is our food pantry program. We also have a Crops to Community food box delivery program. We provide produce bags for our home health and hospice patients. And then we also have, as Mary mentioned, we provide some of the farm produce to our hospital cafeteria. The farm holds a weekly farm stand that's available for community members and as well as team members. And so the farm produces annually around 30,000 pounds of produce, which is pretty phenomenal. And a majority of that
still strikes me, 30,000 pounds. Being produced.
It's a lot. And so, through all of our programming, we're able to distribute that produce and get it into the hands of community members and patients who may not otherwise have any access to that fresh produce. And so it really is a unique service that we're able to offer to our community members and patients. And, you know, as Mary mentioned, we continue to see nutrition rise to the top of, you know, our health needs in our community. And so through those programs and through the partnership with the farm, we're really able to work to try to improve some of those needs, and in turn improve things like, you know, blood pressure and diabetes and you know, heart disease, all of those things that nutrition plays a role in. And so, you know, these fresh goodies that, you know, everyone has today, the peppers, the onions, the garlic, are from, you know, our farm at Augusta Health, and they're fresh. And so that's another thing, you know, because of the farm, we're able to get fresh, locally grown produce. You know, we're not just going out and getting produce from the store or canned veggies or frozen. And so, you know, these veggies are, you know, at the peak of nutrition and packed full of just wonderful vitamins and minerals that are just great for us and have lots of health benefits.
And it really is part of the fresh aspect of it, isn't it? You know, for the food, I hate to say the word degrades, but it does after a certain amount of time.
Absolutely. In the grocery store, you don't know how long, you know, the travel time it took to get to the store and how long it's been sitting there. And so, you know, a lot of time for our programming, you know, the veggies are picked that same day. So they are super fresh. And because of that, they're going to store a little bit better too and last a little bit longer for people. And so, yeah, we know that food access is a huge need in our community, but you know, we're going above and beyond because of the farm. We're able to go above and beyond and not just provide food access, but provide nutrition access as well.
Jump in here if you need to tell people something.
Oh no! Right now I'm adding garlic. I'm just going to add some garlic to the dish. I generally don't want to add garlic too early because it has a tendency to burn, and if it burns, it gets bitter. So I will hold off. Sometimes, depending on how you cut it, you can do it with your onions, and you'll have a kind of a buffer there, but it's kind of something you want to wait for a little bit so you don't get that burned, bitter garlic flavor in there.
One of the things that we talked about before we actually started the program was the origination of, you know, this particular meal, the grits and shrimp. And there's a purpose for the reason that we're doing this, and it's because of the nutritional value of that. But you want to give a little bit of history behind the shrimp and grits?
Yeah, shrimp and grits is it's a staple of what we have in the South and the Low Country, but it's very indigenous to the Americas. It's the Native Americans had a version of shrimp and grits. The colonials had a version of shrimp and grits. And so it varied region to region. It became popular in Charleston, South Carolina, but as a actual dish. But it's been around for quite a long time in some form or another. So,
Catherine, you want to talk about sort of the nutritional value of this, because it's not just well, it is a delicacy in my book, but why?
Absolutely. So this is a great dish because it features lots of different veggies. We've got tomatoes, peppers, onions, garlic. Like I said, they're all just full of great vitamins and minerals. Garlic, the garlic and the onions and the peppers that everyone received in their boxes are, like I said, from our farm, and they are all packed full of vitamin C and antioxidants, which help our bodies to fight off diseases, which is especially important in the upcoming months with cold and flu season ramping back up again. So it's even more important to incorporate those fresh fruits and veggies into your diet to help ward off some of that sickness. And you know, garlic and onions especially is just, they're just so tasty, so great to add to pretty much any savory dish, and just have so many health benefits. You know, onions have been shown to help in blood sugar control. Garlic's been shown to help in blood pressure control, and again, they have, you know, antiviral properties, antibacterial. Peppers, again, packed full of vitamin A and C and fiber and potassium.
And it balances out the bacon that you
yeah,
just got
exactly.
put back in
It's
there,
all
right?
right. Yes, it's all about balance. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so this is a great way to, you know, a dish like this is great. You know, you've got some extra veggies in the fridge that you need to use up, and that garlic and onion is just going to give it such a nice, and the bacon, of course, is going to give it such a nice flavor. And you're just really able to pack in a lot of veggies and really make it a nutrient-dense meal. We talk a lot about nutrient density, and all of these, you know, veggies are very nutrient dense, meaning they're low in calories but high in those vitamins and minerals that our bodies need. And again, you know, getting those vegetables when they're fresh is so important and so key. So you're getting the most out of those nutrition wise.
Oh,
You have something
tomatoes. I'm getting ready to add some tomatoes to this. And the thing about tomatoes is really nice is because of their water content. When they cook down, they're going to make somewhat of a sauce for us. We're going to use them to kind of leach some of that juice out and get a somewhat of a little marinade in there for the rest of the dish. Now, I've already added the bacon back to it, so we can cook some of that out more and get it a little crispy. And now is actually a pretty good time to add the shrimp back into the dish and let it finish cooking. There we go.
It looks great. Yeah, and tomatoes are considered one of those superfoods too that are just full of great you know, vitamins and minerals that our bodies need. So yeah, this is a great dish. Again, like I said, especially with, you know, cold and flu season coming up, get packed with lots of antioxidants, help our bodies fight off some of those diseases.
It's what I had no idea is, of course, I know that the vegetables are good for you, but the density that you're talking about, this is something that also I don't think you've talked about it thus far. I've been breathing in the aroma of this, so I've lost track. But you do community outreach with how to cook and the things you use. You want to talk about that?
Sure.
Yeah, that's actually today.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing that today.
So,
right after we get done.
Right
after we get done here, we're going to be going to the Salvation Army in Stanton to do cooking. Well, it's a food pharmacy
That's part
program.
of our food pharmacy program, like Mary was talking about. So part of that program is that we offer a food demo, and Chef William has been handling those and has been doing a great job and offering some really yummy recipes. And he uses produce from the farm. At each class, participants get a bag of fresh produce from the farm to take home with them. And
that's a nice incentive.
Yeah, absolutely. And they get, we give them recipes and other handouts. And so Chef William always highlights a few veggies from the farm and does cooking demos for them so they can taste test different
anywhere
recipes.
Between tomatoes, cucumbers, today it's Swiss chard, and I just kind of mix it up. And anybody can cook veggies in a pan, but to try to give them recipes that maybe they're not as familiar with, or seem to make it a little bit more accessible to people. So
yeah, absolutely, and just highlight ways of cooking and preparing veggies that maybe they hadn't thought about before, and just try to show them some new ways of cooking, and showing too that just because it's healthy doesn't mean it can't taste good. There's still ways of cooking and still keeping it healthy and nutritious, but also having it taste good as well. So
Right now, we're basically getting there right at the end. Now, for anybody watching, you guys might have noticed I didn't do any salt or pepper yet.
Right.
Always at the end, because you can add it, but you cannot take it
Take it
away.
back. Okay.
So I usually, especially seafood related things, I hold off on my salt just to make it easier. So I don't sit there and go, because it lives in salt. So why would I add more?
point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Right before we're done though, I'm going to just do some fresh lemon over this.
Now, the lemon is it just to...
It's
I'm not even going to guess. Can you explain why you put the lemon
No,
juice
it's just
in
going to give it a little citrus pop. It's going to pull some of the flavors off the bottom of the pan. If you could see that kind of that brown that we have on there. You could do the same thing. I use lemon juice. It's a little bit of it's a good option, but you can also use white wine if you wanted. You could use any kind of white wine, really. You say cook with the wine you like to drink, because you're always going to have it left over. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Note to self.
Yep. But you can really use, some people, I've seen this dish prepared with a little bit of vinegar at the end, just to give it that vinegar bite. And this is actually now the time where you want to add your hot sauce as well.
Ah.
We have
So I will hand that to you.
this. If you are not keen on hot sauce, you do not have to add it.
For me,
not
it
need
would
much.
not be too much.
Right.
Yes.
Will not need much. Now, the recipe for the grits that you have there actually has cheese in them.
Cheese in it.
And I did not add cheese on purpose, because if you add it and it sits, it would stick and it could burn. And that way, so right at the end, when they're nice and warm, right before you get ready to serve them,
I am learning all kinds of little tips that explain
So-
some of my
That's how
faux pas.
that's how I always am in food pharmacy too. I always learn new stuff.
we're going to get that cheese added into it.
The audience is used to me either leaving out an ingredient, forgetting an ingredient, or doing something backwards at this point. And so I am just absorbing all of this. And I wish there was aroma vision, because this just smells fantastic.
It
And
really
those
does.
grits, look, and I'm a Southern boy, I admit, so grits are a delicacy for me, but these look absolutely phenomenal. And yes, they do have a little bit of cayenne in them,
A little bit.
and I just think that adds a pop.
I like it. It's taken me a while to get used to liking spice, but I definitely, I enjoy a little bit of heat in my grits, yeah. But we're basically done. This is how you can plate it up, and we'll plate some up.
Yeah.
It looks
Please.
great. It smells great.
And I was going to ask you, is there a particular way that you need to garnish this or present this?
A dish like this has enough color in it with all the vegetables that garnishing, really, I would leave it at just parsley, maybe some fresh parsley, and I wouldn't go too crazy with it, because you can overdo it, and there's no reason to overdo it. But
This just looks so simple.
it is. I mean, it's a one pan deal. I mean,
Yeah. I think, it's very unique that we as a health system have a farm on our campus, and that just goes back to, what Mary was talking about, our leadership team and our board, and just shows that they value, just as a health system, we're not, we are in the business of treating, those who are sick and those who are hurt, but we're also focused on those preventative measures. And, I think without the farm, technically we could still have some of these programs, but again, we wouldn't be getting that access to that fresh produce. It would have to be store-bought or, canned or frozen or something of that nature. So I just think, because of the farm, we're really able to open up a lot of new opportunities, and, I think, offer this really unique service to community members and patients that, we otherwise wouldn't be able to. And we do a lot of discussions around food is medicine, and just trying to show how eating a more nutritious diet can, help prevent or even, counteract some of these chronic diseases that we see in our community. And so, I think it's just a very unique opportunity, and we're very, very thankful to have the farm. Our farm team works really hard to provide produce for all of our different programs, and we're thankful that you all came out here to see our farm and our farmhouse and kind of showcase this space. So,
No, really appreciate it. Chef William, anything?
I got to say too, I think it's been real fun working with Catherine with this group, because there's a lot of people that might know they grow up, eating things certain ways, and so they only know how to cook potatoes one way, or only know how to cook something one way, and it's been real fun to sit there and kind of engage people in a more culinary conversation to help them learn how to do things a little bit differently. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
it has been beneficial for me to learn about what you do, because as we know that in our world, it's all about our people and our workforce, and keeping them healthy and happy, is a major part of that. And we are blessed to have you as a major asset in our region, and Augusta Health, here to serve our region, because there are a lot of regions, particularly in rural, here in Virginia and in America, that don't have access to these kinds of assets.
Right. And we do see, even in our certain pockets of our community that are considered food deserts, where most people live more than half a mile from the nearest grocery store, and even then it may not be a full grocery store. And so I'm really trying to reach the pockets of the community that need it the most as well. So,
Becca, we have any questions? If not, then we are going to wrap up this class a little early. I'm always happy to provide the gift of time when we can do that. I want to thank Augusta Health for hosting us. I really appreciate all of you and Mary who were able to join us in cooking this. I said, can I take a bite of this before we sign off? I mean, this just
I think
looks,
you need to. Yes.
looks too.
Yes.
I don't know if we even need a fork. Right now, I just want to do this. We appreciate you joining us. We hope that you learned something from this, and just try it. If you haven't tried the grits and shrimp, please do so. I think they're phenomenal. I'm always looking for good recipes. I've got to try this. I'm going to say it's great, but in this case, I am not making anything up. Oh my gosh. This is keeper.
thank you.
Thank you. Now, as I try to talk and finish up, we appreciate you joining us. We're going to have another show in December. It's going to be around housing, and guess what we're going to make? Gingerbread and gingerbread housing. Place to be determined, but we already know that we're going to do that, and we have a good story to tell there in the housing sector as well. We appreciate you joining us. Again, I will thank our host, and that's a wrap. And if there's anything that Shenandoah Valley Partnership can help you with, more than happy to do it. So thank you.